Hi there, in this tutorial I'm going to go over how to install and use Homebrew on macOS, including how to install it, install and upgrade software with it, and more. As always, if you like the video, please tap the like button and consider subscribing. So what is Homebrew and why should you use it? Homebrew is an open source package manager that allows you to install and update software that you install via Homebrew. If you've ever used apt or def on Linux before, or even chocolatey or winget on Windows, it's essentially a macOS equivalent of those. You can install software like command line tools, audio and video codecs, macOS desktop apps and more. It can also be used to install apps from the Mac App Store, but that's not something I'll be covering in this video. It is useful for developers, system administrators and pretty much anybody that needs a single source to install and manage updates to software on their system. It isn't installed by default into macOS, so it'll need to be installed separately. To begin with, you'll need to open up the Terminal application on your Mac. You can do this via Spotlight and search for Terminal and then open it. Alternatively, you can find it in the Utilities folder in the Applications folder. If you would prefer to use a different Terminal app, such as iTerm2, you can do so as everything will be the same. The first thing that we need to do is install the command line tools for Xcode. This will install the dependencies that Homebrew requires. To install it, type xcode-select --install and press enter. Click on install and then agree. This will take some time to download and install depending upon your internet connection speed. Once it's finished, click on done. Next, go back to the terminal and run sudo xcode build -license and accept the license terms. After that, open your web browser and go to brew.sh. Towards the top of the page, under Install Homebrew, copy the command and then paste it into the terminal and press enter. If prompted, enter your password. Press enter to create the directories. Again, this may take a while depending upon the speed of your internet connection. I'll fast forward through this part. Under Next Steps, run each of those commands. You can copy and paste all of them and press enter afterwards. Lastly, close your terminal window and open a new one so that all the changes take effect. Now that Homebrew is installed, the first thing I typically do is to update Homebrew. Even though it has just been installed, I do this to ensure that the most recent version of Homebrew is installed, along with its database of packages that are available. To perform the update, run brew update. Again, this might take a little bit of time. Okay, now that it's updated, let's have a look at how you can check if a package is available in Homebrew. The command you use is brew search followed by the package name. For example, I'll run brew search htop, which will check to see if the htop utility is available to install via Homebrew. As you can see, it is available as a formula, which is what I want to install. There are some casks that mention htop in their name, but those are not what I'll be installing. Now we know htop is available to install via Homebrew, let's have a look at some information about it by running brew info htop. At the top, there is some information about what htop does, along with the current version, where it is downloaded from, and any dependencies it has. There is also some usage information under caveats, and lastly, some analytics about how many times it's been installed. I'm going to do this one more time, but this time I'll use a cask instead. There is no difference in the command to run, only the name of what it is. In this example, I'll just check pgadmin4 by running brew info pgadmin4. The output is similar, but there are some differences. The main one being that under artifacts, it shows pgadmin4.app. This is the only contents of the package. Typically, Casks don't have dependencies, they should be bundled in with the macOS app. Now, I'll install htop, which is done by running brew install htop. If you want to install multiple packages at the same time, you can do so by adding a space and then the name of the package. Now that it's installed, I'll run htop in the terminal, and as you can see, it's running as expected. I'll quit out of that. What I'll do next is install a cask, aka a desktop app. In this example, I'll go with pgadmin4, which is used to manage PostgreSQL databases. Don't worry about what it does, I just want to show you the process. There are two ways to install a cask. First, you can just run brew install pgadmin4, but if there is a package with the same name, it will conflict and not install anything. In this case, run brew install --cask pgadmin4, which narrows it down to only Casks. What I have noticed is that Casks do take a while to install and may ask for your password so that it can install it into the applications folder. Now that that's installed, if I open the applications folder, pgadmin4 is now shown as installed. Now that there's something installed, you can check what you have installed by running brew list. As you can see, there is htop installed along with a few other packages that were installed as dependencies. And under the Casks section, we can see we've got pgadmin4 installed as well. If you want to get the details of just one package, run brew list and then the package name. I'll do this for htop again just to give you an example. As you can see, what it shows is where it's installed. Before I go over this part, I just wanted to let you know that I've installed some additional packages, mostly because I need them. Okay, once you have all the packages and Casks installed, you can create a file or a dump of what's been installed via Homebrew to allow you to reinstall them quickly on a new Mac. To do this, run brew bundle dump. By default, the file will be called brew file and it will be stored in the directory you're currently in. In my case, it is in the root of my home directory. Let's have a look at the contents of the file in Nano. As you can see, it has a list of brew formulae that have been installed, the Casks, and because Visual Studio Code was also installed via Homebrew, it also tracked the extensions that have been installed. What this means is that the next time Visual Studio Code is installed, Homebrew will also install those extensions. I'll come back to how you can use the brew file later on. Next, let's take a look at upgrading formulae and Casks. To install the most recent version of a package or cask, the process is called upgrading. This is not to be confused with updating, as that's what's used for updating Homebrew itself. To start with, run brew update. You should always do an update before an upgrade to make sure that Homebrew has the most recent version of itself installed, along with the most up-to-date package information. As you can see, it has highlighted that there are new formulae and Casks available that you can install, along with 2 outdated formulae that can be upgraded. If you want to see the names and the version numbers that are installed, along with what they can be upgraded to, run brew outdated. Now, I'll update them by running brew upgrade. As you can see, both have now been upgraded. Any Casks that Homebrew is responsible for will also be upgraded, if there are any, so you don't have to do an upgrade just for those. Now, some Casks may or may not be upgraded. The reason for this is that some apps have built-in update tools, so in those cases, Homebrew will only be used to install them. After that, the app will update itself. This is set in the Cask settings. For example, Chrome, Firefox and Visual Studio Code will all update themselves rather than via Homebrew. On the other hand, pgadmin4 does not update itself, so the Cask specifies that Homebrew will track the version and upgrade when required. Homebrew maintains a cache for all its downloads and previous versions that were later upgraded. It's a good idea to manually clear the cache from time to time, if only to free up some storage. To do that, run brew cleanup. The cache will then be emptied and a summary of how much space was freed up will be shown if there is any. The first time I ran this, it gave no output, which typically indicates there's nothing to clear out. I did run it a few days later after some upgrades were done, and this is what it would look like if there was some cache to clear out. Removing a package is very simple to do. Simply use brew uninstall followed by the package name to uninstall it. For example, I'll run brew uninstall htop to remove htop from my Mac. As we can see, it's now been removed, and I'll just try to run it. As you can see, it can't be found because it was uninstalled. If you encounter any issues with Homebrew, you can run brew doctor, which will help diagnose any issues it detects and can make recommendations on how to resolve them. As you can see, it does show that there is a warning about some unbrewed dilibs. I'm not going to worry about that for now, but it does give you an idea of what issues it can pick up and sometimes how to resolve them. If it doesn't find any issues, but you're having trouble with something, well, it's off to Google or AI to find a solution to the problem. The last thing I wanted to cover is how to use the brew file that was created earlier to do a bulk install of packages and Casks. The first thing to do is make sure you're in the same directory where the brew file is located. You can then use that file by running brew bundle install. Anything that is in the brew file will be installed unless it's already installed. As you may recall, I previously uninstalled htop, and because it was listed in the brew file, it was installed again. Everything else was skipped as they were already installed. If I run htop again, it now works. You can now use that brew file on other Macs with Homebrew installed to install the same formula in Casks, or you can use it on your Mac if you need to check that everything you need is installed, or perhaps you have even reinstalled macOS and need to install everything again. And that is how you can use Homebrew to install and manage software on a Mac. There are other capabilities within Homebrew that I haven't gone over, but this covered most of what you would use it for typically. If you found this to be of use, please give the video a like and consider subscribing. For now, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.